was
very
weird.
prominently by the current president in his in I don't even know what you would even say about that post. But maybe I mean it seems
2 minute
he
countdown.
probably wrote it. The president probably wrote it. I am open to
Who?
entertaining that maybe someone around him wrote it to make it sound like him because it is I don't know, it's that crazy. And I think that I'm onto a strategy that's happening that is the people around him and how they're managing him and his PR, which I will speak about in a little bit. But and by the way, I'm gonna call him the Haitian because you guys know on my channel I will call him that, and I don't know why. It's
You
just a
ready?
thought to me. So I like to at least give him a
Huh?
chance. This video is primarily going to be about Alex Jones's response to the
Yeah,
impeachment.
yeah,
His
yeah.
response is you guys also hear his skit that he did with JP is absolutely hilarious. I'm gonna watch it right now. And then we are going to watch this. I know I've never seen Alex Jones this mad. I've never seen him this second time mad. Talk about the whole time this have to think and try to tell not just now. Before we get into this, let me tell you at the end of the video, I'm going to show you guys something really crazy from tonight. Okay, and that is this right here. Okay, what you're looking at in this video is the sitting president, the subject of all of this right now,
30
entering
seconds.
into
Yeah, 30
the
seconds.
Senate. Okay, and you get to hear exactly what he's about, and that's the most incredible live poll that you will ever hear. Okay, there's nothing more accurate than the live audience reacting to the president walking into his own.
10
And
seconds.
let me just tell you,
9, 8,
this
7.
actually is very notable and very jarring. So that's going to be the last segment of the video, but we're going to get into this right now. This is something that Alex Jones did in the right before the election, and we're going to start. I'm going to play this clip, and this is from what should have been his comments directly connected directly to what Alex Jones says in this clip when he goes ab.
Let me turn that off. But the ceasefire deal did not go well. Iran and the United States, when they had the deal negotiations, they were, they could not meet each of their requirements for both sides. They, they pretty much stopped it from happening. They said they could not meet the requirements, so, it did not go through.
I'm not here just to bash Trump. I mean, I know we've been kind of hard on him these last couple videos. I do want to see Trump succeed as a president to get this country back on the right track, but we all know the things that's going on. Something's not right. So if this was somebody else, prior President Biden, or even in his first term, or Obama, we hold their feet to the fire. Yeah. I mean, look what we talk about the Bushes. I mean, we try to hold people's feet to the fire. We're not necessarily here to bash anybody or a certain party or another party or whatever. Can you hear me, Mister Donkey? Okay, just making sure you with us.
Hey
All right.
guys, my friend is.
Saying, give me 1 second. I'm gonna reply. Okay, the notice of things.
All right.
It's
Well,
the small hats. Always the small hats. I
I
currently,
guess all of y'all know by now. If you don't know, the ceasefire talks.
you know, I think it's their government that's pushing for this. The small hat governments. Our new supreme ruler who is taking over the world. I'm half kidding about that, but it is definitely, it's not the people, it's the government. That's the way I like to say it. It's the people that are in control of their state affairs, right? Of their national affairs, of going to war, right? Um, they certainly do not agree with America. I'll say that. Our ideas do not exactly come together. But I can see why you think it's the small hats, and it's always the small hats. But um, I can see why people think that's.
Get him elected. Y'all know about that. But this whole ceasefire deal, it seemed like it was set up to fail from the get go. You seen J.D. Vance, Jared Kushner, and
Okay.
yeah.
Yes, and they
And of course, you
always
knew
want.
Iran wasn't going to agree to any of that.
Yeah, they do.
And now
God bless them. Wish
Trump
them
is
the
saying
best,
if
man.
they
Um,
possibly bombing more, you got Israel that's still bombing Lebanon, and that kind of. All right, where you want to start at?
I guess let's talk about the ceasefire falling flat, basically. What I heard from some of the people. Oh, thank you, the noticer of things, brother. Love my streams, brother. Thank you, man. Sorry, but shout out to the noticer of things, man. God bless you, brother. Um, but with the Trump and JD Vance went to Iran and he went to um JD Vance was in Pakistan doing the peace deal with Iran. And what I've heard from Twitter, we can always trust Twitter. Um, but Pakistan tried to make it easy, for them to come to terms. But on both sides, I don't know all the key details on it, but the requirements that Iran had, the American government could not help them with their requirements in the deal, and vice versa. So they came away with no wins on either sides. Now I can see why people, some people do not like Iran, and some people think they shouldn't be bombed. Iran, has a lot of problems with treating people harshly, a lot, especially Christians. From what I heard, I might be wrong. Don't count me on that. I need to look more into that. But yeah, the peace deal or the ceasefire deal fell flat. And I mean, who knows what's gonna happen next? Honestly.
Well, with it falling flat, that makes one country happy with it falling flat. We know who that country is
Oh yeah.
because they're the ones that got us into this mess.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm gonna go ahead and say this: the country of Lebanon, 30 to 50% of them are Christian.
Mm-hmm.
What faction of Christianity? I don't know, but they're considered Christian. If you want to go after a terrorist organization like Hezbollah or Hamas, go after the actual organization. Don't bomb innocent people. They continue to bomb innocent people. I've seen the videos where they hit just any old apartment building. Just to be launching bombs at them. And what happened when this ceasefire supposedly went into effect? Not even 30 minutes after it went into effect, you had Israel bombing Lebanon.
Mm-hmm.
And then Iran retaliated. And they all claim, well, that wasn't part of the ceasefire deal. Then now he's talking about if they bomb Iran again, they're going to bomb the water plants and the infrastructure. How are you going to help the people of Iran by doing that?
Yeah.
And closing the Strait of Hormuz off, we didn't have any of this problem before you started bombing Iran. he accuses Iran of closing it off, only letting
Mhm.
certain ships go through, charging them a toll. Now here you are going to close it off. You going to let anybody through it by closing it off? I don't understand how that works. I mean, I guess I'm a low IQ person. Explain to me how that's going to work. You blaming one country for closing it off, then you going to take it over, and then you going to close it off. Well, what's the difference?
Yeah. But also now he is trying to blockade the port, Trump. I believe.
Blockade,
Yeah,
blockade the what?
block the ports.
Uh, yeah.
Which all of this just doesn't make any sense whatsoever.
No, it don't. Uh, I know that he said that, or Iran has said that if any U.S. warships go through there, they're gonna bomb them.
That is not
Yeah,
good.
yeah, but Trump says they ain't got nothing to bomb us with, really. Then the question was brought up if, what happens if China sends Iran weapons? And he said they was going to be dealt with. So we're getting into a much broader thing.
Mm-hmm.
Then everybody said all the oil tankers are coming to the U.S. Do you realize how long it takes an oil tanker? They don't move at maybe 10 to 15 mile an hour.
Mm-hmm.
You don't realize how long that would take for them to come from Iran to our east or west coast and then go back. I mean, we're thousands of miles apart and traveling at 10 to 15 mile an hour. I mean, you could pretty much do the math on that. It ain't like us getting in the car. Say we drive from coast to coast here in the U.S. You steady drive at 65, 70 mile an hour, if not faster. You could probably get coast to coast in 2 days, steady driving, maybe quicker than that, depending on the route you take. But not no big oil tanker.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know why he was getting off saying that, and all this crap he's putting on this tweet. If he's writing that, well, let me rephrase that. If he's not writing it, it doesn't matter who's writing it, even if it's not him.
Boys, what do you think?
He's still approving it to be put out there.
There could be many different options.
A lot of people are trying to say, well, that's not him writing it, but yeah, but he's approving it to be put out there.
There will be many various, ways this outcome will happen. Terrible way to phrase the sentence. But, there's a lot of different things that could happen in this situation. Like he's talking about, Iran could bomb ships that come in, and stuff like that.
It sound like him text
But tell me, guys, what you think. Do you think they're gonna bomb the ships that come in? Because what I've been hearing is President Trump has been blocking the ports, like we was talking about a second ago. The ceasefire deal went through, and they could not come to terms. And meanwhile, Israel's bombing Lebanon. Whole lot of crazy stuff.
not amazing, but mind-boggling that in some of these tweets, whoever's writing them is putting "Praise be to Allah." What's the deal with that? When you ran on being with the Christians, you gonna put "Praise be to Allah" on your post?
Yeah.
I went in that a little bit yesterday. I mean, and it's just whoever's writing your stuff, or if you writing it, won't you just come out and be a man and say, hey, I'm either an atheist and I don't care about any of this, or I am a Muslim or of the Islamic faith,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. Come out and say, hey, And now you get up here in your live saying they ain't, the Epstein files is a hoax, and you get your wife come out and say, no, they're real.
Mm-hmm.
And we need to have hearings in front of Congress. So
And
which is it?
plus,
You flip flopping a lot. You saying one thing, and you're saying the total opposite the next couple hours.
mm-hmm.
And you have to keep reminding everybody every time you do an interview, every time the press asks you a question. I've seen this time and time. We won the war. We completely demolished their Navy, their Air Force, all their nuclear sites. But yet we can't open. They got the straight hostage. Tell me how you won the war. Nothing's making sense at all. Nothing. Nothing at all is making any sense about this. I mean, are they trying to do a big reset, have a big reset happen where everybody goes to digital currency?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, he was talking about that.
Yeah.
Where it's going to be Bitcoin and, basically, like you're saying, it's going to be a whole reset on the, financial system. And even Mexico is implementing like the new IDs, like you can't buy or sell anything without the new digital ID or even own a phone, I think.
Oh, I didn't know about that, but wow.
Are they using powerful?
Yeah, that's something else. President Trump did mention something about Palantir and
Palantir.
Palantir Industries. And you could think, we mentioned his name before, Peter Thiel on that,
Of class 4 and lower,
which was a big backer of, guess who, J.D. Vance, which throwed a bunch of money their way so J.D. Vance would all of a sudden start liking Trump.
And vice versa.
Yeah. I mean, we know from the get-go when this ceasefire was supposed to start, we know a country was mad and they didn't like it at all. It's not that, this is what I think. I don't think they got, if they got anything on him about the Epstein files or whatever, but this is the most part what I think is happening. They donated so much money into his campaign and J.D. Vance's campaign, and they told him, well, if we donated all this money into you, now you're just going to turn your back on us. You remember that day you got your ear shot?
Sorry, I didn't see your text till now.
One of them things. You remember what happened to Charlie Kirk? I think that's what's happening.
Mm-hmm.
Because they have, you go back, who was one of his biggest donors? What was that woman's name?
30 seconds.
Yeah. I know APAC donated a bunch of money. And we all know what APAC is.
If you want to, we can hop on and chat, but
Well, you have to go over there, have it
and then we'll
badge on your thing where they scan it, and if they like you, they give you a bunch of money. Even mentioned her name on the campaign trail. Praised her for it.
It was either Miriam Addison or Richard and Elizabeth.
Both of them. Yeah.
And then there's Jeffrey and Janine Yass.
Yeah. I mean, all of them donated big money.
Oh, yeah.
To all of a sudden make Israel first instead of America first. And I think that's what's happening. I mean, what's that old saying goes? Follow the money, and you'll get the answers.
I've always said you act like who you hang around too.
Yeah, and he's got all these. I don't want to be. Well, I'll go ahead and say it. You got all these Zionist preachers and the Zionist donors.
And the Zionist podcasters that Mark Levine.
Yeah, and the Zionist, well, podcast. I don't know if you want to call it whatever. The Zionist people in the press telling him he's great. Hey man, you God's right hand man. You're doing everything God wants you to do. You know, you got to protect the people of Israel. You got to help the government of Israel and all this blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And they building him up on this high pedestal, building his ego up. And I think that's exactly what's happened. Along with say, well, if you don't do this, you remember a certain thing that happened a while back while you was on the campaign trail. And yeah, you remember
While he
what
was
happened to
talking,
you supposedly little best buddy there?
you know, what do you guys think of this conflict?
I mean,
Because it's
that's
not
my
really a war,
thoughts. What's your
but
thoughts, Mr. Donkey?
okay. 1 second, guys. I'll talk to you in a second. Um, with this conflict, it's definitely odd. And the connections with a certain country and the Zionists, as we call them. It's definitely weird to see how they tie in with our country, because America has always been known to be free, you know, and not really having allegiance to, you know, other countries. Well, having allegiance, but like not having a country involved in our politics or our way of life. Because, you know, back in the day in the Revolutionary War or around those times, you know, they just got rid of the British, and treason means death. They would have done terrible things to people that committed treason against the government. I mean, look at World War II. Some of the people that fled from fighting in the war were shot and killed. They were murdered for committing treason, technically.
Yeah.
I mean, fighting in World War II is no joke, of course. And some people would have ran away because it is war and it is deadly. I bet, you know, some people didn't want to go to Vietnam. They were forced into it, drafted, and they were killed.
Yeah.
For what reason? To fight a war? Now, Vietnam was one of the wars. A lot of these wars are, I'm not going to say meaningless because that takes away from the life that was lost. But the ties there with the nation of the small hats, you know, we helped create them in 1947. 1947, we created that nation practically. And why do they have so many ties in our country when we should be the ones saying, hey, here's how things should be run? But look at the other ties we have. Trump looks like he's getting blackmailed or something. Kind of, I don't know. But it definitely seems to that because he's acting not like himself. I mean, look at the files. And the next, like we said a couple of days ago or whatnot, in the Netflix documentary, it said that he had ties to a certain country and he was blackmailing politicians. He had dirt on every person, you know?
Yeah.
On anyone. And you don't think I'm not saying you, but we don't think that he would have used it on a lot of these people to do what he wants. I mean, if the CIA overthrows countries and pretty much putting their puppet leaders and, you know, lets fentanyl go into our country and let these states decriminalize drugs. I mean, all these things, I know that has almost nothing to do with this, but if, you know, the CIA will pretty much topple a nation and put in their own puppets, why wouldn't people be blackmailed, you know? I mean...
Yeah. I lost my train of thought there for a second. That's what happened when you live. Yeah. Going back to a certain country and when the nation of Israel was formed. A lot of people don't realize when the nation Israel was formed, it was formed by Zionist people, and there were some atheists in there too. You know, didn't even And they just wanted it to be formed to bring back the end of the world so they can set up a one world system. And the main problem, I know I'm going to get off on a little tangent here, but the main problem today is before Trump even got in office. We're gonna take that out of the equation. This is way before Trump even got in office. It started back when the Schofield Bible come out,
Mm-hmm.
and it had the Rothschilds, behind it. Then they started putting in all this premillennial rapture stuff in it. Nowhere in the Bible is the word rapture mentioned. And don't get me wrong, I believe Jesus is coming back, but he's coming back one more time, not two more times, one more time to gather his church.
Yeah.
I mean, I believe that. Just like I believe in the resurrection. But my whole thing is the whole rapture theory was come about from a young girl had a dream. And that young girl was either the preacher's wife, related to the preacher somehow or another. And then he told one of his preacher friends, and they just made up his whole thing and went with it. And now, so if you got a Schofield Bible, I'm going to be honest with you. You need to get rid of it. I'm not saying the King James Version is the best version out there. I'm not saying that because I know there's stuff that's been added to it.
Yeah.
I don't even know which version is the best, but I can say it's one. The Catholic churches went through the Bible and took out books. That's fact. I mean, you look at the Ethiopian Bible, that's got all the books in it. Why is a lot of them books been took out? Especially the book of Enoch. Jesus spoke about the book of Enoch. If Jesus spoke about that book, don't you think it should be in the Bible?
Yeah, why was it?
I know there's a lot of people say there's a lot of weird stuff in the book of Enoch. Yeah, it talks about giants, possible aliens, and other things in there. But if they're uncomfortable talking about with aliens, then they don't even need to look up at the stars. I mean, because you can't tell me, honestly, you can't sit here and tell me we're the only life in space. In all of space, we're the only beings. They just don't make any sense. Why is all them other stars there? Why is all the other planets there?
It's because our world leaders
Yeah, that's right. I guess it didn't fit the church narrative.
Yeah. They put a dome.
I mean, you got
here.
What J.D. Vance that come out and said, no, there's not aliens, they're just demons. It goes back on that. I mean, I'm not saying the demons don't do that stuff because, hey, they can disguise themselves to do that. And I also believe, I'm not saying there ain't aliens. I do believe there is extraterrestrial life. But some of this manipulation, however you say it, mutilation, abduction, alien abduction, I think that's more the government doing that. Why in the world is an alien, okay, got all this
Guys, do you think aliens
jam up technology way better than ours? I mean, it puts ours to shame.
I'm gonna let
50 billion light years.
But with this whole, let's talk about the Iran deal, and a little bit off topic. But the next live stream, I'll open up a free stage so we can debate and talk about, the Iran deal. So guys, the Discord chat is here. I'm going to talk with my friend here for a good bit, and next live stream we'll open the Discord. You guys can come in here and we'll debate, talk about different topics. So it'll be a free stage. Sorry about the noticer things, man. Hope you enjoyed the live stream so far and everyone else watching. Yeah. But I'll open the stage for the next live stream so people can hop on in here if you're down to debate or just talk about things. Next live stream or a little bit after this, we'll open the stage and we'll debate, talk about some things, man. Just said that. But yeah, let's get back to it, boys.
But you think about it, why do they come down here and just get somebody that they say, hey, we're just going to get that person right there? If they know everything about us to start with, they supposedly know all of our weakest defenses in the military, know where all of our nuclear sites are. Why are they going to come down here and abduct somebody like Joe Blow instead of abducting a general or somebody very smart? Now, I'm not saying Joe Blow's dumb. I'm not saying that. I'm just talking about, when I mean smart, they got all the military knowledge and all the secrets and everything. Why don't they abduct somebody like that instead of just abducting somebody like me and you?
Yeah.
I think that it was a deal made between the governments and them so that they could get weapons, which would explain some of the things that happened in Iraq.
Yeah, abduct us with low IQ.
Yeah, the whole, you talking about like when they all surrendered.
Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of people think that was mind control when they all surrendered like that.
And other things that Tesla done, he said he came out and said he thought he was communicating with aliens through some of his stuff.
And then awful funny, who got all the Tesla files after he died? What y'all think about that for a second? We talked about this before. Donald Trump's uncle. Don't you think Donald Trump's got them now?
Well, I'd like to know what non-nuclear weapons that he's talking about that he can be pulling out with this.
Oh yeah.
Makes you kind of wonder what kind of research he's been doing.
Yeah, if he says, hey, we're not going to use nuclear weapons on Iran.
Let me pause that for a second. With some of the things that are happening in the past couple of days, after Trump blocking the ports, right, and the ceasefire deal falling apart, Trump blocked it, blocking the port. He's blocking the what? I'm losing my mind. After Trump is blocking the ports, and the ceasefire deal went through, and Israel's still going to war with these countries. Man. The Congress is voting on the 25th Amendment. A lot of people already voted on getting Trump out of office. This certainly is not a good sign for how our country's being ran. Of course, and it's not just the war, it's the list that has been pretty much thrown away. You can't really trust the list that they bring out. I don't think we can trust it, but it's not just a list, it's Trump's presidency. Right? He's, not himself, clearly. It's weird. His first term was actually pretty tremendous. It was pretty great. But this term, he went back on everything he said. This is politics. This is the name of the game. But certainly a lot of people backed Trump and liked what he did, and was tired of the Biden administration. As we've seen in the past couple of years, it was terrible.
Do you think they get along behind closed doors? I've heard two different things about that.
I've heard they do, and I've heard they don't. But I find it awful strange. He sends him over there, him and Jared Kushner and whoever that other dude was, over to the peace talks, and hear him and Marco Rubio going to watch a UFC fight.
Oh, nice.
You didn't mention that.
I mean, yeah, they went to a UFC fight last night. Yeah.
That is crazy.
Why didn't he send? In that situation, if you're going to send somebody, shouldn't you send the ones that's usually dealing with the foreign nations like Marco Rubio was supposed to be doing? That's something, Jared Kushner, I know why he sent him. I mean, that's his son-in-law, big Israel supporter. I know why he sent him. But why J.D. Vance not send Marco Rubio instead of you and Marco Rubio go to a UFC fight in Miami?
Not so good.
Not to, I mean, he got some cheers, but it ain't like it was before. Huh.
Yeah.
What do you think about that, Mr. Donkey?
Marco Rubio chilling at the UFC event.
I can't hear you.
Oh, can you hear? Oh, duh. My bad, I was muted. But it's just odd. Maybe, I don't know. I think, J.D. Vance is gunning for Trump's job. I mean, after this, term, J.D. Vance is most likely going to run for president. They might, I don't know, but they might set up J.D. Vance to be a good guy in this whole play here. Where Trump looks, I mean, maybe I'm a crazy guy, I probably am, but where J.D. Vance just looks like so good. Like, for me watching him, I don't trust him, but I can see why some would like him a little bit. It's because the way he talks, the way he carries himself, and the way he handled the Iran deal,
Yeah.
Because just the way he explained it was, seemed pretty good. But the deal fell through. Maybe Trump sent him over to fail. Who knows? And you're probably right about the son-in-law with his love for another nation, which is insane. Like we were discussing a little while ago, treason, right? All these politicians have committed treason on one level or another.
Yeah.
I mean, taking money. I know that AIPAC is technically, it's not another government entity, right? Or is it? Because it's technically some sort of, not fundraiser, but
yeah. Oh no, they're big donors out of Israel. They really are.
Yeah. But I would say technically,
because to get money from AIPAC, you have to travel to Israel.
Yeah.
And go to their little meeting with a name tag on, and they scan that name tag, and you basically talk to them and try to sell yourself to them, and if they like you, they give you money. And now Trump, I don't know if he ever went to an AIPAC meeting or not, but I know he got plenty of money from Israel in the campaign from certain people, and that's on record.
Yeah.
Uh,
What are you gonna say?
No, go ahead.
Oh, thank you. I remember when you were discussing about Trump's religion, right? Earlier, I watched a video of Trump saying, "I'm not a Christian, but he loves Christians." You know, he does. I don't hate Trump. You know, it's terrible to see someone you thought. I know this happens a lot. It's life, right? But someone you thought might actually be decent, just like all of us, comes toward the glory of God. We all have sinned and comes toward the glory of God. But it's like this person, you know, like okay, they might actually do pretty good as presidents, right? They've done some good things for Christians, like Trump has. He's done some good things for us. And
Yeah, you know, like I said at the beginning, we're not on here just to bash Trump. I mean, Trump has done some good things. He really has.
And what
But
makes it even
this, you know, just because we don't agree with it, that don't give him the right to come out and, or whoever wrote that and he approved it, come out and completely bash the ones that helped get him elected. Because if it was not for them people he named in that post, he would. I don't care what people say, he would not have got elected.
Yeah.
But go ahead.
Especially our leader and great friend of the show, Alex Jones. I know that guy. Me and him are best friends, and he doesn't even know it yet.
Oh, he don't know yet.
Yeah, I just watched him eat dinner the other night. Not
After Trump.
I can't say Trump because I'd be like, okay, now you're in trouble, buddy. It's definitely hard to see like Trump do the whole turnaround. Like that's kind of like, I didn't vote for him last year.
Yeah.
Because I was like, I'm just gonna take this. Not that I knew everything was gonna happen. Of course I don't. But I was like, I was pulling for RFK Jr. Even though the government allegedly taking out his whole family members.
Yeah.
Who doesn't become a part of the system, right? I mean, RFK, he went against evil companies that cause cancer. Look at Roundup. He won a case against not maybe Roundup, but some kind of pest company that the guy got cancer from because the chemicals got on his body, and he won millions of dollars. But that doesn't make up for your life. The money doesn't, but it did help him a bit. But like that's what I was pulling for. That I saw Trump and all these other people, left, right, and middle, pretty much ruin RFK's whole campaign. Even Trump.
Yeah.
Was bad talking to him. I understand it's politics, but it's like, you know, when's the decency going to come back for all parties?
What gets me now is the ones that were what they call never Trumpers. Mm-hmm. Ones that never Trumpers are now his biggest friends.
Yeah.
You got Lindsey Graham, Mark Levin, Lindsay Loomer, Laura Loomer, excuse me. What's the other one?
I don't know. Those are
that's. Then he tells everybody, well, if you want, you know what we're gonna do, just listen to Mark Levin.
Mm-hmm.
Man, I don't listen to them fools. Because all they do is put out. He was talking about how we needed to use nuclear weapons on Iran. This is Mark Levin. You know, he was talking about how we needed to use nuclear weapons on Iran because it would save soldiers' lives. It's like, yeah, but you're gonna kill millions of people, dude. And we got to do this because they threaten death to America and death to Israel.
What about the death of your citizens who died from overdoses of fentanyl that you legalized? That you decriminalized? What about the death of people that are getting shot by gangs in the street in Chicago?
Yeah.
What about the people being mistreated in our states? What about the families that are falling apart, you know, and dealing with all whole types of problems? What about the food prices in America? What about the gas prices? What about our system that is falling apart and people being let loose? Like, I saw this post, someone who threatened to kill a lot of people in the store got off on a $15,000 bond. He went to the store and threatened to kill people.
Well, just here, I don't know if, no, it wasn't today because today's Sunday. It must have been yesterday.
Yeah.
Some masked men went in Chick-fil-A, started shooting it up. I think it was in New Jersey.
Yeah.
It's like...
It was recent if it wasn't yesterday.
Yeah, it was recent if it wasn't yesterday. So, I mean, but, you know, I don't understand. Now they talk about Hungary. Hungary had a election. They voted that leader out. And I don't know. You know, all I know was the post I read by what Trump put out or whoever wrote it, and Trump approved it. About how we was going to start sending them money to Hungary. You know what I say?
Oh, and then they lost.
Yeah, and then lost. But you know what I say? We don't send anybody any foreign aid. That needs to stop. Look how many billions of dollars we send to these countries. And who knows what they're doing with this money? If they was doing what they was supposed to be doing with it, we wouldn't have these problems. But they're not. So I say, no more money to any of these foreign countries. Put it back into America first. I mean, if we quit sending all this over there and put America first, think how strong our country actually would be. I mean, I'm you know, we supposedly got the strongest military in the world and all that. Yeah, blah, 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 blah. But think what kind of infrastructure we'd have. Everything would be top notch. You wouldn't have potholes the size of a car in the middle of the road. I mean, you would have the high-speed rails that they want. And it's just... Okay. But you would have the high-speed rails and the high-tech airports and everything. But instead of putting money in our own country, we decided to take our taxpayers' dollars and send them to people. Send them to people in countries that really don't like us. And all they're doing is acting like our allies just to get our money. And that needs, that needs to stop.
I don't think
how we solve the problem in the Middle East, we pull all of our troops out of there. Come back home. Pull all of our military equipment out of there. Come back home. And just tell that certain country, hey, you want to fight? Go fight on your own. We ain't helping you. This ain't got nothing to do with us. A lot of it goes back to they formed the nation of Israel in 1948, right? A lot of it was done by Zionists and atheists, not with the intentions of being good about it all. They wanted to do it to bring about New World Order. That's the only reason they've done it.
But think about it. NATO was one that had a big hand in bringing them July back into it as a nation back in 1948. NATO is not Christian.
No, they're not. I mean, I know a lot of people, well, it says it's prophesied in the Bible. Yes, it is prophesied in the Bible that God will bring his people back to the land of Israel. How about, I know it says that, but God allowed them to bring the people back to the land of Israel, or what was supposed to be the land of Israel. He allowed it to happen so prophecy can be fulfilled.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, everything that Jesus come for was spiritual. It wasn't physical. It was spiritual. He died on the cross for your sins. Rose again on the third day. Come out of that tomb. You know why the stone was rolled away from the tomb? Not so he can get out. It's so we could see in there and see that, hey, he rose. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, sir. But I don't think.
And who was the first one that ran into the tomb? It was Peter. The one that denied him, told Jesus to his face, "I'll never deny you." And Jesus said, "Yeah, you will. You do it 3 times." And Peter was the first one to run into the tomb, while everybody else stopped at the door, or yeah, whatever you want to call it, the entrance. When Jesus on that cross and he said, "It is finished," that's what he meant. I mean, all this other, the Schofield Bible. I'm getting back to because this is, people's got to understand. The Schofield Bible, it's got so many side notes in it that people believe them side notes more than they do the actual scripture. You even got preachers that preach on them side notes instead of preaching on the scripture. And they take the side notes as gospel when it's not. It's somebody's opinion. And they teach in these Bible colleges the Schofield Bible to get people believing in the pre-tribulation rapture and the support of Zionism, which is you got to do whatever Israel says, basically. And people just need to, find the old-fashioned Bible that ain't got any side notes in it. When you get a King James version or a New King James version, or if you want to go older than that,
Like pre-1900.
yeah, I mean pre-1900s Bible that ain't got none of the extra stuff in it. Or we know some stuff has been added to some of these verses.
I was shocked about the woman being added in there.
And it's just, and it's got a lot to do with the people that wanted to, I forget how to put this.
They wanted to make it more acceptable with what they was wanting to teach at the
Sorry,
time.
boys, I'm back.
So they changed it to fit what they were saying instead of changing what they were saying to fit the Bible.
That, and they wanted to get it to where they start making money off of it, put more people in the seats. Because if you teach them this little comfy thing about, well, you ain't got to worry about going through nothing.
He's got a great thing right here about the Schofield Bible. He's right. I'll have to look more into it. You got me. But these times, man, are not gonna get any better. It's gonna get worse before it gets better. That's what my dad always told me. It's better to be prepped and nothing happens. It's better to be prepared and nothing happens, and being unprepared and something happens. Just like I got prepped. Shout out to my dad's channel, Seer Survivor. If you need to get prepped, know the right gear to use, and research on your own. Check out Seer Survivor on YouTube. You got a great channel. We really love it. But I mean, I hope things get better. Of course I do. I hope life gets better for everyone. I hope everyone gets a fair shake and a fair deal. But you know, the rain falls on the just and the unjust. No one is excluded from pain and suffering in this thing of life. Jesus Christ. But you know, I don't know how things are going to play out. You never know. This could lead into World War III or to Ezekiel 38, right before the 7-year peace deal, right? It could lead to anything. We never know. Just be careful and be safe, man. And pray.
Just the stuff that they're starting to teach, and it's like, that's not right. Like I seen one today, guy was in the pulpit preaching, saying, I guess he was bashing some of the people, saying, you know, you got supposedly conservative people telling that it's okay to hate Israel and not support Israel. You know, nowhere in the Bible does it say you're supposed to support the government of Israel and whatever they say to do. Show me that verse. Nowhere. If it's in there, somebody needs to show me, because I hadn't seen it. Where it says, when Israel says to do this and do that and do this, you got to do it. I hadn't seen that in there. You got any thoughts, Mr. Donkey?
Yeah, it doesn't really. Leaving the Lord Jesus Christ when it is the leaders in the world. And he didn't really. I mean, he was stern with them. Us, you know, it doesn't call us to be nice. I mean, it calls us to love one another.
Yeah.
You know, Jesus was not nice all the time. He was stern, and he told people the truth. I think hating Israel is a strong thing. I don't think we should hate them, but as you know, we should definitely be stern and have real conversations. But the problem is, whenever you have a real conversation nowadays, this is why Tucker Carlson was, you know, he gets a lot of mess because he's actually level-headed.
Yeah.
You know? And when we look at Charlie Kirk, when he went against the fundraisers, I don't know if we forgot about this, not us, but some people, I forgot about it a little bit. But months before he died, didn't he bring on Tucker Carlson and Candace Owens, people who were speaking outright against it? And then they pull their fundraisers, and they were from a certain country, right? And so he was starting to talk out against the country, and he was against going to war with Iran.
Yeah.
But then I believe he had a conversation with Trump. I don't know if that's true. Maybe it is. I'm not going to say yes or no. But, you know, he even sent a letter to Netanyahu. Some of it was like, I don't know if this letter is real, because he was like, you should get more involved into our politics. But he said you should explain why are you doing the things that you're doing to help Americans understand, and that would be super helpful. But,
Yeah, I know he was against Israel bombing Lebanon. I do know that.
But whenever we speak out against, a certain group or a certain country, and you just lay out some things that may be statistics or even facts, that was certainly like, nowadays I see more and more people being accepting the Lord Jesus Christ, which is awesome. But a lot of these facts could be false, that we know of. And I forgot what passage it is, but the man's being wise. The wise of the world are foolishness to God. I messed that up. Terrible paraphrase. I don't know, man. A lot of these, whenever you speak up against, especially a government or governments nowadays, you either wake up with you don't wake up with a pillow on your head because you're dead. You go to sleep one night and there's a pillow on your head somehow.
Yeah.
I usually never sleep like that. I hope I don't.
Yeah.
And I don't take medicine. That's one thing. I might need to take medicine.
You're not going. Shoot yourself in the back of the head either.
Yeah, that is not possible. I mean, whoever thinks that's possible may need to sleep with a regular pillow underneath their head, on top of it. They need to get a good night rest to rethink their thought process.
Yeah.
But when we look at examples of Charlie Kirk, these people who, are not on the extreme. Like when we think about extreme, I'll put Alex Jones there because a lot of people just think of him as like a cuckoo head conspiracy theory guy, or even Joe Rogan too, right?
Yeah.
But Alex Jones was right about a lot of things, and everyone paints him as this guy who's insane. But when you have like Charlie Kirk, Tucker Carlson, and they're speaking out against this, a lot of people would lose their jobs, lose everything.
Yeah.
But now some people are losing their life because they're speaking out, and it's against organizations, and that's how tyrants run a country.
Yeah.
Whenever you talk about, like, even in Charlie Kirk's situation, right, within the same day or the day or two, didn't they bring up gun control, the politicians? Can't one person who got shot, yes, he was pushing for, gun rights. Who wouldn't? Like, would the people in Chicago, when there's a murder a day, I don't live in their shoes, I don't know how that's like, living in fear because you might get shot or killed. That is horrible. Imagine living like that. Or in Iraq or some places like that. It is terrible what these people have to go through. But imagine you live in a first world country. No offense to the other countries, but live in a first world country and you're supposed to have rights as American citizens. But in some states, you can't even protect yourself while all these criminals and cops are running loose shooting people. Now all cops are like that, but there are some occasions that does happen.
Yeah. For anybody that's joining us in the live stream, if you could give us a thumbs up, that would help out. Yeah, I know people, what's on the title, but a lot of times we get carried away on the other topics. But we get back to the topic of before we get out of here on the ceasefire. My whole thing is that I said it once. I guess it's like beating a dead horse, but I think he's gotten threatened and blackmailed by a certain country because they donated a lot of money and they said, well, it's about time you do this. Or you remember what happened to a certain individual last year. for speaking out against, allegedly. But a lot of signs are pointing. We didn't been down that road. But did he send JD Vance over there to fail at this? Yeah, probably, because they already knew they already know what they're gonna do, regardless if there's a ceasefire or not. I mean, they complained about Iran having the Strait of Hormuz closed, and now here he's gonna go do it. That don't make any sense. And if we obliterated them so bad, why do we need to negotiate with them? I mean, it's just like a UFC fight. Two fighters get up there and talk all this trash, or boxers get up there and talk all this trash, and one of them beats the crap out of the other one. They don't negotiate on nothing. I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's just like that. I mean, if you're gonna send somebody to negotiate, I mean, they've done it one time before with a vice president, but it was what, 30-something years or a while. Why are you even sending your son-in-law? He's not appointed to any office. Didn't that be Marco Rubio going over to negotiate it?
Well, I'm going to play it from the other side real quick and see what you guys think about it.
Yeah.
Now, Trump is saying we won, and then Vance is saying, well, not quite, so there's a difference in that. But then you got these negotiators sent from Iran, and now it's coming out of several streams that one of the reasons it failed on the nuclear option is because they didn't have the power to make the decisions to accept it. So if that's the case, why send people that didn't have any power to accept it? So who's really setting who up to fail?
Well, yeah, because they didn't have the power because the rest of them dead.
Wouldn't they appoint new people? Wouldn't they appoint new leaders in case that happens?
Yeah. I don't guess the new leaders had enough power. I don't know what the deal is with that. Why? Well, I mean, why even send them if they don't have the power? This whole thing ain't even making sense.
So why not send some of the military people if they're the ones without power?
I mean, this is what I get from it, and I'll let you finish it off with your thoughts, and we'll get out of here. My whole, this is what I think. The whole ceasefire peace talks deal was a show. We know we don't get nothing out of that. I really don't care who they sent over there. Wasn't nothing gonna get out of that unless Jared Kushner. The only thing I can see is unless Jared Kushner was doing some kind of backdoor dealings with Israel, because I think we're still gonna bomb them. Israel's gonna bomb. Are they gonna nuke them? I don't know. I hope not. I could be wrong about this. I'm not an expert, but that's just what I think is going to happen, because Israel wants to keep fighting.
Yeah.
Until evidently there's nobody left in that Lebanon, and when there's nobody left in Lebanon, they can't say there's Hezbollah and Hamas still there. I mean, we could go deeper into this, but I'll let you finish your thoughts off, and I guess we'll get out of it.
You bring up a lot of good points and extremely valid points. There's no telling what's gonna happen in this, whole conflict. Because if, they knew this deal was not gonna work and just try to do it anyway, just to trick us. I mean, what's new, right? At least they did in secret in the Bush years, but now we see everything. Almost, not everything, but a lot more with social media. If this doesn't go through, and the blockade and the port doesn't go well, Israel is probably going to continue to bomb, these countries, which is weird. Why? Unless we're in the end times, which we very well be, then they're just setting everything up. But if one side nukes the other, we know what we're in for. Whoever says we're gonna drop a nuke to stop human life from dying or sending in soldiers, I mean, that's gonna start a world war. Then you're gonna have to do the draft, and everyone's going to war. And do you think really Americans are gonna go to die for this country? I mean, seriously.
The ones that would are the ones that's, I hate to say it this way, that's been indoctrinated. And I'm gonna leave it at that. It's been indoctrinated, but there is a reason why they passed that, where you're gonna automatically get registered when you turn 18.
Yeah.
Because it's too cold.
Yeah. I mean, we can go in deeper on this on another stream, but people, leave your thoughts down below. If you hadn't give us a thumbs up, give us a thumbs up.
Yes, sir, boys. Please do that if you're not watching.
And I'm on.
All right.
Say God bless. Jesus loves you. Stay safe. Watch your back. Go to, I guess, Walmart or wherever.
Yeah, boys. Daggum, I gotta put down the cheesecake. I just looked at my face. But hope you guys enjoyed this live stream. We will be going live again soon. I don't know about tonight, maybe tomorrow. And guys, if you want to come in and debate, it'll be me on the live stream, of course, and we'll debate some topics, and especially this Iran thing and how Trump is doing. The Discord is open. It's in the comments. So guys, if you want to join the debate, we got one person, the noticer of things. He's going to be on, hopefully, and we will debate some things, and we'll see what you guys think, and hopefully come to a mutual ground on some topics. But I'm probably going to end the stream for the night. I got some things I got to do after stream. But we're going to have more of these, most likely. Got some videos coming in, too. I got to get the editing. Can't hire someone right now, but hopefully down the road I can hire someone to do my bidding. No, I'm kidding. But guys, I hope you enjoyed the live stream. I'm sorry I'm ending it so soon. I'm just almost falling asleep here. But we got some things to do after stream. But God bless you guys. And I'll see you in the next one.